Hello friends, I am Gunendra Sidhu. This is the second episode about Osho. In this book, we are going to discuss the magnum opus of Osho, which is 112 meditations. And these meditations are taken from 5,000-year-old text, which is a dialogue between Shiva and Parvati. As I have already told, Vigyan is consciousness, logic, reason, Bhairav is supra-consciousness, beyond our consciousness, and Tantra is technique to reach there. Actually, I was a bit prejudiced about Osho and the word Tantra, I don't know why. But when Osho introduced me to this text, I realized that this text is the most essential for us if we want to get connected to our own self and to know our true being. In this book, Osho makes remarkable observations about wisdom and knowledge. He says that the real wisdom or knowledge is that which transforms us. He says that when we have any question in our mind, it means we are standing at the place of question. But if the knowledge cannot take you to the place of answer, then it is no knowledge. He gives a very beautiful example that if a blind man asks that what is light, the so-called scholar or egoist scholar, he or she will try to explain light in intellectual context. But who believes in Tantra wisdom, that person will first give eyes to that blind man so that he or she can see the light itself, so that that blind man can experience the light. So he says that the real wisdom, real knowledge is the direct experience, not only the intellectual definitions. And he gives a very beautiful example of, another beautiful example of Pythagoras. Pythagoras, you know that it is known for Pythagoras theorem, which is very famous in mathematics. But even I was not aware, and I hope that even you are not aware, that Pythagoras was a great mystic too. And Osho says that during one period, at one point of his life, Pythagoras applied to a university in Egypt. But his application was refused. Pythagoras applied again and again. His application was refused, declined. Now the Pythagoras inquired because he had curiosity. He wanted to know that he had so many of degrees, so many of education qualification, and then why the University of Egypt was refusing his candidature. And when he inquired, the people from that university, they said that they don't need the degrees, education qualification or intellectual accumulation of the facts, but they want the students who have capacity to experience life directly. So they suggested to Pythagoras to undergo a kind of breathing exercises for 40 days. And Osho says that these breathing exercises are those which have been mentioned in Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. Those breathing exercises were actually founded by Shiva. So he says that the real wisdom lies in direct experience of life. And that is the wisdom of Tantra. When your every cell, when your every atom is open, is experiencing the life, then you are in state of Tantra. Then your consciousness can transcend, can be elevated to supra-consciousness. Then this word, if you feel every particle, every visible and invisible part of this universe, then it becomes moksha, nirvana. It becomes heaven for you. One line that is very often quoted by Javed Akhtar, and it is about a share of Mir Taki Mir. The share is like that के इस जहाँ से हम सरसरी गुजर गए वरना हर जर्रे में एक जन्नत थी. I passed through this life in a very superficial and casual manner, but I did not realize that every particle of this universe contains a heaven. So even if you can find Jannat in every zarra, a heaven in every particle of this universe, then this is the wisdom of Tantra. So it is an existential experience. It is not the intellectual accumulation of the facts, but the direct experience. And one thing more that Osho says while about these techniques of spirituality, he says that pass through this world just like a witness. Be a witness of your life. Participate in it. But at the same time, have an element of detachment. And this thing he says about creation. That is why he praises creation a lot. Because if creation is standing in Mahabharata, though he is participating, he is understanding everything, he is the greatest strategist, but at the same time he is detached enough to know everything, to understand everything. And the Tantra wisdom is like that. Pass through this life like a witness, like a traveler. Here again I remember one beautiful expression that is in novel Siddharth by Hermann Hesse. In that novel, Siddharth says that I pass through this world as if the stone is thrown in a river. And that stone, without getting attached to anything or without being distracted, just goes to the river bed without any delay and rests there. This is another example of Tantra wisdom. Now I'm going to read few lines from this magnum opus and a great book, which is the Book of Secrets. 112 meditations to discover the mystery within. First of all, I am going to read what Osho actually says about Tantra. Like he says that the utmost requirement to attain the wisdom of Tantra is to have receptivity. Receptivity of change, the capacity to transform yourself, allowing yourself to transform. He says that you will need a change, rather a mutation. Unless you are different, Tantra cannot be understood. Because Tantra is not an intellectual proposition, it is an experience. Unless you are receptive, ready, vulnerable to the experience, it is not going to come to you. And he gives another beautiful example, that is what kind of surrender is required. He says that there was a Mahakeshap who was a great follower of Buddha. And one day he came to Buddha and he completely surrendered himself before Buddha. And Buddha just touched him and he started dancing. He got a blissful experience. Now, you know that the most popular disciple of Buddha is Ananda. Now, Ananda was standing there. He said that even I couldn't get experience while following Buddha for last 40 years. Then how Mahakeshap got that experience with just one? You are not going to receive Tantra. And same thing happened with Pythagoras several centuries back. Then Osho explains Osho says that actually Ananda was the elder brother of Buddha, and he started following Buddha, though he followed him very religiously, but he started following only when Buddha accepted his three conditions. His first condition was that he would always follow Buddha and Buddha would never refuse him. Second is that he would sleep wherever Buddha would sleep. And third was that at any time Ananda could ask any question and Buddha would not refuse. And Buddha accepted all these conditions, so Ananda started following Buddha. Now the Osho says that Ananda could not get that experience because his surrender was conditional. But there was no conditions for Mahakeshav. So such kind of surrender is required for attaining the wisdom of Tantra. He further says that Tantra will not say what is light. Tantra will tell you to attain insight. It means Tantra will give you the eyes to see or experience light. Osho says that Vigyan Bhairav Tantra is 5,000 years old. Nothing can be added. There is no possibility to add anything. It is exhaustive, complete. It is the most ancient and yet the latest, yet the newest. Old like old hills, the method seems eternal, and they are new like dewdrops before the sun, because they are always so fresh. So he says that there is some eternal facts, some eternity about this Tantra. And Osho makes a very interesting distinction between Tantra and Yoga. He says that Yoga is about systematization, whereas Tantra, this Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, is about accepting your naturalness, to be what you are. And he says very beautifully that in Tantra there is no fight with your own self, while in all other disciplines you have to change yourself. While Tantra there is no need to change, because what you have to do is to accept yourself and get connected to yourself. Now this Vigyan Bhairav Tantra is actually, as I have told, is a dialogue between Parvati and Shiva. And Parvati, who symbolizes a common person like us, she has curiosity to know the truths about the universe, the wonders of the universe. And out of curiosity, she asks several questions. She asks questions like, "Oh Shiva, what is your reality? What is this wonder-filled universe?" And she also requests Shiva to please clear my doubts. Here Osho makes a very remarkable observation. He says that Parvati doesn't ask to give answer, but she asks that please clear my doubts. Osho says that it is very important to clear our doubts, because if we have a mind which is constantly creating doubts, then no answer can satisfy us. Unless and until we do the chopping or the surgery of that doubting mind, we can never be satisfied with any answer. So it is about clearing the doubts, or to removing that doubting mind. And what Shiva replies, that is the whole book that we are going to discuss in different parts. In first part, Shiva, instead of explaining the wonders of universe, suggests some techniques, the breathing techniques, with the help of which even Parvati can experience the reality of this universe, the wonders of this universe. So we will keep discussing these techniques in our coming episodes, and with this I conclude this episode here. Thank you.